These are my 10 most anticipated debut novels of 2025. If you haven't seen my entire list of most anticipated novels of 2025, not including debuts, you should check that out down below because that is also very exciting. But if you're interested specifically in debut, these are what are coming out from authors who have never released a single book before this year, and I am so excited for so many of these. It's kind of weird because I feel like debuts feel so much riskier than all of the books on my other list where, like, I've read books by those authors before. I know I'm gonna love them. These authors, they've never written anything. Like, this is the start. And there's so much potential here. These stories sound incredible. Some of these authors are creators that I've followed on TikTok for years, and I've been watching these books come to life as they draft and work on them for years, and I'm so excited. And then some of them I'd never even heard of before a couple of months ago when I started to go looking into what is coming out in next year, which is actually really, really soon. And it's all just like, there's something about debuts that are like so especially exciting because you know that it's like new talent that you've never seen before, and there's so much potential. These are like the start of finding a new author that you really love, which is somehow like more risky but also more exciting than just sticking with people that you already know that you're gonna love. If that makes sense. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe nobody feels that way, but that's how I feel on the matter. So let's get into it. Blood Beneath the Snow by Alexander Kennington comes out on March 11th, and this is one that's on here because I'm curious. I'm a basic bitch and I'm curious, okay? It's really that simple. This is like the most cliche sounding book that I have read about in a long, long time. Our main character is the like middle daughter of a throne, and she's the only one of her siblings who doesn't have magical abilities. And how the throne works in this country kingdom is that they all fight to the death in a magical arena, and she's the only one without powers, and now she's in this arena battle without powers while everybody else has powers, and she needs it to win the throne in order to save all of the people who are like being oppressed by the people with magic. And so like, is that something that I've read a million times over? Yes, but there is like a twist, because as soon as she signs up for this, she gets kidnapped by this enemy king, and he's so dark and brooding, and he has like ulterior motives, and maybe he has a heart of gold in there too. Is that also cliche? Yes. Do I care? No, because like it could be executed well. If it's executed well, like I eat up a good tropey book if it's executed well. And so like I have very low expectations for this, if I'm being totally honest. Like, do I think it's going to be executed well? Not especially. But if it is, it has so much potential to be just so much fun. If it doesn't take itself too seriously and maybe like tries to subvert a couple of those tropes that are just a little bit too overused at this point, it could be a 5-star read. Who knows? I'm curious. I'm curious. Next up we have Yours Eventually by Noor Moznavi. This is a Pakistani inspired, I think it's kind of a Sense and Sensibility retelling, and if it's not, it's just giving those vibes because our main character is the middle sister in a tight-knit Pakistani American family where her father has just lost all of his money and they are now like scrambling to figure things out. When her estranged college sweetheart comes back into the picture, her father and her aunts would not let her marry him back in the day and completely broke her heart. But now he's a very eligible, rich bachelor, and he might be the answer to their problems. And so Asma, our main character, finds herself just trying to navigate all of this and figure out how she feels about him now in the present and win him back while reconciling everything that happened in their past. Sounds like it might be a dual timeline. I am very excited. This is actually one that I also have an arc of because the publicist for this book reached out to me after I made a video talking about how completely obsessed I am with Much Ado About Nada by Usman Jalaluddin, and said, if you like that one, you're gonna like this one. And I said, give me right now, absolutely yes, please. I am very, very excited because Much Ado About Nada is fantastic. And so if you haven't read that one, you should read that one too. But also keep this on your radar. I've been following El Tesh on Twitter for several years at this point, or at least a few, and her debut, What Wakes the Bells, comes out on March 11th as well, and I am very, very excited for it because I basically saw her doing like, I think, pitch wars to win her agent and was like, I'm gonna follow. Like, this looks so good. Their book looks so good. And so I've been following ever since they were pitching their agent, and they must have gotten one at some point because the book is almost out. This is a YA fantasy following Mina, who is a bellkeeper in what is basically a magic sentient version of Prague, and her job is to keep the bells in this city from ringing because if they ring, they will awaken an unspeakable evil. Until one afternoon, the bells ring 13 times, and suddenly this evil that they have been fearing for their entire lives is descending upon them, and it is Mina's job to find its host, kill the host, and save the world. Basically, the problem is the host could be literally anyone, including the people most dear to Mina herself. Behooved by M. Stevenson comes out on May 20th. This is a romantasy. It's pitched as slow burn, and I am begging it to actually be slow burn because a lot of things are pitched as slow burn that are not. But I'm hopeful because the right slow burn is enough to like sell me for an entire year. Like, I just riding the high of a well-developed slow burn. Yes. Also, the main character is chronically ill, and she is a noblewoman who like puts duty before all else, and her duty is to marry the heir to the neighboring kingdom in order to stop a war. But when she does so, he's brooding and he doesn't really like her, and it's not going well. And even worse, on their wedding night, there's an assassination attempt that goes wrong, and he gets turned into a horse. And basically, all day long, he is a horse. And then as soon as the sun goes down, he is a very, very attractive man. And it's a little bit complicated, and it's very much giving My Lady Jane, but I am very much here for that. And it's kind of funny because this must have been written before that like became popularized on Amazon, and like just based on the timing of the release. And so it's like, I don't know. I mean, the book already existed, but like timeline-wise, I don't know. I'm desperately needing more of that vibe since My Lady Jane was canceled, and I'm really hoping that this will fill that gap, especially with the chronic illness representation. Anyway, the two of them have to like escape for their life because he's been attempted assassinated and turned into a horse, and he knows she didn't do it, but she's being framed for the murder. So they're like, we gotta go and figure this out on our own to like save our lives and also the entire kingdom, because turmoil and mess. And it just sounds like it's supposed to be like kind of cozy and silly, goofy and fun, and I'm curious and I'm excited, and I think that if it's anything like My Lady Jane, I'm so sold, I'm so there, I'm hooked. A Dance of Lies by Brittany Arena comes out on June 10th, and it is another one that like I've been following this author on Instagram for a while. It was just officially like announced, cover reveal, all of that a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago at this point, and it was so exciting to see everybody like come together and be so excited for this book, because it's just, you know, like when you've been following someone for so long, you get excited, you get invested, parasocial relationships, all of that, and it's so cool to see them succeed and be doing what they want to be doing. And I'm also especially excited for this book because first of all, it sounds amazing. Second of all, the main character is disabled, and I am always a sucker for chronic illness, disability representation, all of that, because, you know, obvious reasons. And so this one is especially exciting for that reason as well. This follows a disabled dancer who is framed for murder, and the only way to like not get hung for this is to become a spy for the king, and it is getting more and more dangerous, and she uses her wits in order to just like stay alive, and she finds herself in the middle of this super messy political web that has her at risk of losing not only her neck, her head, but also her heart. And so it's got like, it's a romantic fantasy, and there's not a ton out about this one because it was literally just officially announced like that, but what I do know sounds right up my alley, so I can't wait. I think the one on this list that I've actually been following the longest is Medievally Blonde by Kate Jacobs. Kate is the reason that I am here right now. It was her account that came across my TikTok, made me start my book talk, that fell into all of these other accounts that I have, and just like the reason I am making bookish content on the internet. And so I've been following her account since 2020, and she's been talking about Medievally Blonde, her Legally Blonde inspired medieval high fantasy romance, for almost as long as that. This is basically Legally Blonde, but instead of lawyers, they're knights in a medieval high fantasy world, and I need that right now. I was reading the blurb as I prepared this, and it's just so freaking funny that you need to check it out, because I can't even do that justice in my description as I describe it to you guys, but hopefully what I say is enough to intrigue you as intrigued as I am. When her heart is shattered, Clea has no choice but to follow Dovenal into the military academy for knights in training. What, like it's hard? In order to win him back and secure his betrothal. There is war on the horizon, and she needs his alliance. And also she just like wants him back. But things are even more complicated than they seem when she meets Ronan, another warrior there, who is everything that is intriguing to her, and he is also Dovenal's best friend. The war is approaching faster and faster, and they really need to get things together because there was a whole lot more than hearts on the line here. I think this is the one that I'm most anticipated for on the list because like I've been following Kate for so long, and I'm so intrigued by their book, and also just like reading the description had me laughing out loud that I can't even imagine how fun and funny this book is going to be as a whole. This time we have a true romantasy, which is In the Veins of Drowning by Kaylee Cassidy, an author with my name, say less. That is genuinely a significant part of the reason that this is on this list, because if you find an author named Kaylee, I want to support. Kayleys have to stick together, even if we spell it differently. Nobody spells it the way I do, except for Kaylee Cuoco. So slay for her and me. Personally, I think it's the best way to spell it. Anyway, I have a difficult time with romantasies. Like when things are described as true romantasies, they tend to actually not really go my way. I'm not really sure why. There's just something about it that I love fantasy and I love romance in fantasy, but when you get to like true romantasy, it tends to not work for me. And I'm hoping that this will be not the case because it sounds absolutely phenomenal. It's about a siren who has been in hiding for a long time. She is hiding from all of the people who want to kill her for nature being a siren, and also from herself and her own powers because she's terrified of them. She lives her life on land where the call of the sea and her power and monstrosity is like more subdued. But when a neighboring king comes over and knows exactly who she is, she has to team up with him to save not only her kingdom and herself, but his kingdom as well. And the closer they work together, more the feelings start to develop. But she's worried that she is in over her head and her power is not enough. Perhaps in order to kill this monster that is threatening them, she will have to become a monster herself. That sounds really good to me, and so I am very, very hopeful, but a little bit apprehensive. Next up, we have Mistress of Bones by Maria Z. Medina. This is a YA romantic fantasy about a necromancer. She is responsible for her sister's death, and all she wants to do is get her sister's bones back from the capital in order to, like, raise her sister from the dead. But in her way stands the emissary Lord of Death, and he is absolutely not gonna let her do this. In fact, he doesn't think that a necromancer like her should be around at all. And they're playing this game of cat and mouse that drags them deeper and deeper into the secrets of this city and this world. And they find themselves tied together by strings of fate in a plot to unravel the entire world at the whim of the gods. I am always here for a romantic fantasy, especially YA romantic fantasy seems to work really well for me. I love it so much. And also necromancers and also sisters and grief. This just sounds absolutely incredible. I'm so curious because I feel like there was like a lot of information in the blurb on this and also not a lot that I'm like, I'm so curious. I feel like I both have a grasp of the world, but not necessarily of how this is all going to play out. I'm very, very intrigued. And that one comes out on August 5th. And then finally coming out on September 9th, we have The Maiden and Her Monster by Maddie Martinez. This is one that I am especially hyped for. Definitely, I think like top 3, maybe top 2. This is by another TikToker that I've been following for a long time and who I believe is a mutual of mine even. We just have very similar taste in books, and so I feel like whatever she writes is going to be right up my alley. This is a sapphic retelling of the myth of the golem from Jewish folklore, and it just, the way that she's been describing this book for ages has me so hook, line, and sinker. I cannot wait. When a young woman is forced to venture into a cursed forest at the edge of her village in order to find and stop the monster that has been hunting and attacking the other women in her village, she finds a golem that is ready to confess, but only if she agrees to fulfill an ancient promise first, a bargain that unravels a whole new and much more dangerous threat to her people and forces her to face the growing feelings for this monster that she was taught to fear above all else. Every single one of these are so high up on my TBR for the months that they release, or hopefully sooner if I can get ARCs. That is my goal because they all sound so incredible and I cannot wait. But I know there are so many more incredible debuts coming out that are just so hard to keep track of. So if you know of any, please, please, please drop recommendations in the comments. I'm so serious. I feel like it's so hard to find debuts because typically when you're looking for new books to read, you're thinking about, oh, what's an author that I love? Do they have anything else coming out this year? Or you're looking at like reviews of recommendations that like people you know are giving you, but nobody really knows much about debuts before they come out. I feel like typically like when they pick up steam, it's like a couple of months after release as more people have read them and seen them on bookshelves and picked them up. And I want to be like at the start of it. I want to be supporting these authors as they come out, and I don't know how to find them very well. So if you know of any, drop them below and I will definitely check them out. I'm so excited for all of these and all of the other ones that I know that I'm going to be discovering from the comments of this video. I hope you all are doing great. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all of that good stuff. Bye!